Hey everybody, it's Cinnamon Cooney, your Art Sherpa, and today I'm going to be showing you how you can create for yourself at home this adorable little dragonlet. This is actually the last painting in our Sherpaween series where we did 13 paintings for Halloween. I really wanted to finish this year with something super cute, and you know, man, I turned that down right before I went. My phone. Hey, you know it's live. On the mic is my husband, John.
Hello.
He's going to make sure that when I teach this lesson, you guys get all the visuals into it that you need. So we have robotic cameras, several angles. That way, if I'm demonstrating a technique, if I'm doing a color mix, you don't miss a thing. On top of that, if you check the description below, we have a link to a traceable. So while I will be showing you how to draw the dragonlet in, if you're like, I don't love drawing, drawing's not my favorite, that's okay. I got a free traceable that you can download. And if you would like to level up your painting, you're not sure if you're ready yet, 7 to 10 days after this video, we release something called a mini book. They might be actually coming out a little bit later because we did a lot of paintings in a row. But like 14 days and stuff. But those are written out instructions that are going to match the steps you see me break the video down to, and the steps are going to be time stamped into the video. Now, all these things I do because it actually helps you painting at home have a much better, more successful experience and be able to paint even more complicated paintings than you can ever imagine. So that's why we do all of this. Let's go over the materials. You know what we're painting with. There's little me. All right. So today I have an 8x8 surface. I paint on 8x8s a lot and 9x12s a lot. So if you're like, I love this channel, I'm going to hit the subscribe button. I'm going to like this video. You're doing all the things and you're wondering what you might want around. This is a very good size canvas to do a lot of projects with me. Now, I have a wish or intention that I'm putting out there. You see a broken heart that has been mended. I'm going to be painting over it. But my wish and intention for you is that you are healed and made whole from whatever has come in and broken any part of you, your health, your heart, your soul, that you are healed and made whole, however that needs to happen. I have here the color Dioxazine Purple. Kind of looks like black on the palette, but it's not. Ultramarine Blue, Quinacridone Magenta, Cad Red Medium, Cad Yellow Medium, Yellow Ochre, and you see I put a little more out. That's because I'm going to be painting the background in with it. Burnt Sienna, Phthalo Green, Mars Black, Phthalo Blue, and in the center, Titanium White. Shall we throw up a step, John, and just hop on in? Hoppity, hoppity, hop.
There you go.
Step 1, I'm going to paint the whole background with that yellow ochre. Whole thing. Which is why I drew my little drawing in with it. Now, yellow oxide is kind of a transparent paint just by nature, so you will still see some of the lines through there, but because of the second and third layers that we're doing, even this painted in drawing will vanish for me. And I'm also showing you this so you understand that layers build up and how they work to help us get better results. That's mostly going away. Mostly going away. Just painting it in yellow oxide. Very first step 1. How easy is step 1? Super easy, I think. Super easy. All right. Once I have all of the surface painted yellow ochre and a little bit around the sides or completely on the sides depending on how you hang your work, we're going to dry it and come back for step 2.
Step 2.
Step 1 was so easy, wasn't it?
It was very easy.
So easy. Now, if you're here today and you've done all 13 paintings, I think you need to, like, let us know.
Yeah.
Be like, I have made it to the baby dragon.
Man, just let us know here in the chat, and we will see it, and we will celebrate with you, because it is so fun. Whose yellow ochre are you using? It seems like it's different shade than Golden's. I think I will look over there. I think it is Sennelier. To be honest, I did have to look. But we'll check that out for you. And hi, everybody. Nice seeing you. They were curious, what brand of paint was that?
This is actually one of the original paint companies, Sennelier. This company is 250 years old. Yeah, I think it's that old. And they've been making oil paints and pastels for forever, and this is their yellow ochre. Most formulas of yellow ochre or yellow oxide are based off of this color. It is a little different than the Goldens. If you have a different brand and it's a slightly lighter shade, slightly richer shade, slightly more yellow shade, it's not really going to mess with the result of your painting. So I don't want you to feel worried at all or concerned. It's going to still be okay if it's slightly different.
Gotcha.
Sometimes it can feel like, oh no, it's like from burnt sienna to burnt sienna to burnt sienna, man. You're like, people do not have a uniform way of burning this brown.
Nah.
Yeah, no.
They're all different cookers.
And also pigments are sourced from different places, and natural pigments tend to have a lot of personality. Let's take a minute and breathe. We've got this painting. You've got this. I've got this. Together we can do this. We're doing good. Everything is okay. Now, I am going to get my big fluffy brush. This is a number 18 Raphael Artini brush. I'm telling you the brand just so you know what I'm using. Other companies make this brush. This brush is available at a variety of price points depending on who makes it. What you have here is essentially a fairly large round done in hog bristles. That's the hairs on the back of a boar. You could use a stiff synthetic brush if for some reason you are not using hog bristles. All right, let's get this wet. I think John is fixing a technical issue. He has vanished off into the distance. Yes, mystery technical things that will not affect us because John is being genius. I'm just letting you know. Everyone give little claps for John. He's secretly being genius. If you still have a stream, John is secretly being genius. Now, I've gotten this brush a little bit wet, and I'm taking the extra moisture out of it. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little burnt sienna to my yellow ochre, kind of making a halfway tone. And I'm going to add a lot of white, a little more yellow. And we're going to begin creating this background. Now, notice that my brush strokes are very scumbly. I'm kind of working the mid-belly of the brush to the toe. My pressure is soft, and I am moving the brush head around, and you can even see the handle is moving up and down. And this is how, and I'll roll the brush too. I'm going to begin creating this initial diffused effect that you see in my digital study. Been doing digital studies lately. And no, I don't have really great, I will always tell you what program I'm using. I just need you to understand that my advice is not the best advice. If you're going to take digital advice, please take it from Bobby Chu. Like, please. Because he actually is a master in his craft in the digital space and probably has the best advice. But I use Sketchbook a lot, and I like Adobe Fresco because it has painterly tools. That's what I use. But I am informed that other programs are better by my children all the time. I'm adding a little more yellow ochre as I go through. So that's just something to know. If you're like, oh, I want to be able to design like that, that's a thing that you can do. Melinda says, I love the Raphael brushes. Yeah, I really think they are super good brushes. I wasn't sure how the baby dragon was going to be embraced. Like, was everyone going to be like super like, it's a baby dragon? Some people were like, he looks a little like an ostrich. Notice I'm just dry brushing this around, and so it's kind of lightening the center. Now, as I go out, I'm going to add a little black into this mix up here. And I'm going to start to darken these colors. We're going to add a little black into the burnt sienna and yellow ochre, and I'm going to kind of work this in. And what I'm going to be creating is the keyhole effect, the blended little keyhole effect that we're going to have. This generally takes me about 2 layers in this type of technique to get a really diffused effect. If you didn't, and I really like to have a solid color underneath it to really get it. Cynthia says, I'm just stopping in to say hi. I'm working on the farmhouse, but I'm home and can check in finally. Glad you're home. Back at the farm. Oh, and then somebody is saying, yes, ostriches. Ostriches or dragons. I'll take it. I'm taking a little bit of this mix and mixing it into the white. And we're going to just, kind of make sure that we've got some halftones happening here. And I'm diffusing this out. Noticing that this is a dry brush at this stage. It can be a lot darker down here. And that's because the dragon, baby dragon, is going to be covering things. And so we can start to think about how this might have kind of a dark wingspan. It's going to be a little bokeh or out of focus on the outside.
Dark wingspan.
Yes, his new wingspan. His new wingspan. His new wings. New wings.
I am the darkness that flaps in the night.
He's the cute darkness. Some things in Halloween are cute. Baby Smaug was still a baby. Though, I'm sorry, I'm on Smaug's side. I know, he fights Mordor and da-da-da-da-da-da, but it is a dragon, and they are rare, and just let him have the gold.
Yeah, where are the conservationists? I mean, there's going to be a whole bunch of very young
We're the
dwarves
progressives
and
of
elves.
Middle Earth.
Yeah, they're out there, leave Smaug alone!
So we're just kind of working that in. It's kind of uneven, so I'm going to come back over here into my yellow. I haven't rinsed my brush out. And I'm going to continue to sort of dry brush this out. Doing really good. It's just a little bit of a scumbly beginning. The beginnings are so scumbly, so humbly.
They can be.
Getting a little burnt sienna and more Mars black here for the corner.
There's more than one way to scumble a dragon.
There's more than one way to scumble a dragon, and there's more than one way to scumble a background. Diffused backgrounds on acrylic are kind of those are the harder ones to get into because acrylic dries on you so fast, and then it doesn't want to blend once it's dry. So all of this is going to be all those workaround tricks to get there. John and Cinnamon are going to get eaten gluing their hands to Smaug. Oh my gosh, did you see that they did if you're not aware, there are climate activists throwing food on paintings. And mashed potatoes now on Monet. And I'm just I just want to know, is this thought out? Did they go mashed potatoes on Monet and then that was a club meeting and then they went and did it? And just so you know, wherever you are on this issue about whether it's a good way or not to raise awareness, the paintings are behind glass and they're incredibly well preserved. I think the long-term negative effect of the food throwing is going to inevitably be we don't get to bring food into museums anymore. But I never thought we were able to bring food into museums. So
I don't think you're supposed to. I think it's supposed to be a no snack place, but
they're gonna start checking for snacks now.
But I think what happens is that you get some people who are there on some literary interests or some sketching, and they're like, "But I brought a nosh." And
for class and everything. I think that's what it is. Tammy Edwardson says, "What is the point of that? What is the point of that?" All right, so. And since I don't have a crystal ball, I am not lending my thought to right or wrong because I couldn't possibly know that. I mean, I think everybody tries to make everything so crystal clear, but I don't think life is like that. What they have said is, because I always try to look at both sides and not get caught in an echo chamber or a bubble because it seems to make people insane when they do, is that by doing this annoying but somewhat innocuous thing, because again the art isn't harmed and you can remove, by the way, if you ever crazy glue yourself to anything, acetone gets that off. It's so easy to take off. You don't even got to go to the hospital, just get nail polish remover. By doing that, it hits the news cycle and they get billions of dollars in news coverage, whereas, and this is a trigger warning because it's kind of an upsetting sentence, not but a few months ago, a guy burned himself alive outside of an OPEC event. And we don't, I can't even,
I think it was in the Capitol.
Was it the Capitol? Yeah, and nobody can even remember it. So I think that they're doing this very dramatic thing to get the conversation going. I don't know how it's going to go pear-shaped or awry. My prediction is somehow it's going to go pear-shaped or awry. But that's just because I've been on planet Earth a minute. And if it was my kid doing this, I would be very concerned on a lot of levels. So I think fighting for the climate is great. I understand trying to get the awareness. It isn't how I would personally choose to do it. But if burning yourself alive doesn't get anybody's attention, man, I don't know what anybody can do. It's a big issue, which is why I paint. Is it why you paint? It's why I paint. I just answered a very long, crazy question, didn't I?
That was a good question to answer.
It is art related, though. Why do that? Why protest around art? That's why, you know, because the paintings are worth so much money. Okay, let's try this.
Right. So it's this is a great way without harming anyone or really bringing any harm to any property to very effectively bring the conversation of climate change directly to the people who are able to influence it in many ways. So, there's a whole lot of political science that kind of goes into the art of protesting and the philosophical concepts of civil disobedience and its role in politics, and all of that goes far beyond the scope of our art here today. The scope of art and civil disobedience.
Oh, yeah, I don't do it. I mean, like, we're not going to do any of that. We're going to paint a baby dragon.
Right.
But we can observe it and we can think about it and,
talk about it.
We can talk about it. We should not go past that. Two things. Crystal saw my video about advanced style. If you follow me on Facebook and you see my personal account, not my page or my group, but my personal account, I shared one of my very favorite fashion movements, advanced style, and it's really terrific. And she saw that and she's loving it. I agree. And then I saw Fairy talking about how art is helping them deal with tragedy and loss. And I think that art is very powerful in that way and can totally do that. Now, at this stage, I am going to start to kind of sketch in where my dragon is going to be, where things are. I've got kind of a little circle blobby highlight here, and I've got a little bit of a, vignette going around the outside edge. So I know where stuff basically is, but now I've got to get my dragon in. I am going to do him in black because it's crazy. But also so you can see it. And I'm going to use my number 4 round to do it. If you are following along at home, use a chalk tool so you can change your mind. Right? Use chalk. And then you can, if you don't like a line, you can change it. But I'm going to do this with black. I am going to tip my surface up a little bit here and there just so that I have good, I'm going to say my top of my head's going to be right around here. So that gives me nice scale, and I've got my neck coming here. So really what I've done is I've created a little arc line here to say, stop lines! Don't go too much above here. And I placed a line where I know the center of the body is.
Gigi left a really funny comment that the system wouldn't let us put through.
Oh, no, the system got you for the words.
What I will say is that it is a very funny anecdote and probably just a little too risque for the crowd.
The system is very the system filters all the stuff that doesn't need to be filtered and misses all the stuff that probably should be filtered.
Let's just say it wasn't a mishap, but some super glue interacted with some body parts that resulted in some stuff.
Yeah. Yes, that's scary, isn't
it? I do appreciate the share.
So I'm gonna take my head and I'm gonna give it a little more scale.
Oh, no, it's okay, Gigi.
I'm going to come down the center line here so I can set my eyes in the symmetry of his face, right? So I'm taking little incremental steps. Now, I'm going to bring his little jaw, I think, down to about here. I'm going to bring it right here.
But mostly I just don't want her to feel bad because it's welcome the sharing.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Don't feel bad. Like sometimes it's not us filtering. Sometimes it's the automatic system filtering. And we're like, we would have been cool. But for some reason, the system is being weird today. I'm curving from this center line, the beginning line of the neck. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. So there's a mirroring project going on here that is happening. And then from here, I'm going to very lightly, because I want to have enough, I might even move that down a bit. This is another nice stage to do it in. I want to make sure that I've got some room to put the wing up. That's a curve line going up from about the midway neck. Yep. And then I'm going to do the same. I don't have to get all of him in, but I need enough of him in to know where I'm going to be placing background and everything. So if you're doing the traceable, this is when you would do that.
And the traceable is just a really good way of being able to get the little duder up there.
It's a great way of getting a little duder on here. You are dealing with my dragons from like when I was a kid. So if you're like, why does this dragon look like this? Because apparently that's just what I was into doing as a kid, and I'm still doing the same way. What it really is that we had a ranch and I had horses, and so sometimes that impacts how you think about how you draw subjects, right? So like there was a period of time where all my dragons looked a little bit like Arabian horses with very long necks and tails. Just saying. Now I'm going to bring a little line across. This is going to help set those eyes, isn't it? To the outer side. A little line up. Little line up. Just on the toe. Just trying to make sure the eyes are big. And then I'm going to bring that line back down in a teardrop. I'm going to add a little bit of his little lipping here. All right, so he's got a nice little head that could eat some stuff. He's not very much a Game of Thrones dragon. Right?
He could be. He's a little.
No, he's not a war dragon. He's a little bit fierce dragon. He's a little bit fierce. He is definitely not a war dragon. Gonna kind of just softly angle out his little jawline here. And I'm going to try to make sure that I've got the little snout line. These are just little guides that I'll be using later that will help me. This line up here is going to help me set my horns, because the horns will attach above the lids. I don't really need the horns right now. We know they're going to come up here. So I have a good amount of sketched in information. In painting, when we're drawing, we need certain information. We don't need all the information. And that can be kind of unnerving if you're used to really drawing and putting in a lot of anchoring lines to express an idea. Coming in and being this loose about something can be really unnerving. Now you can do all of the lines in the traceable. That is completely fine. It won't ruin your piece in any way. We just need to have about this much in. And I can already see I'm going to be like lowering his eye and stuff like that. Like if I look right there, I'm going to come in with a little detail. I'm going to be making this eye a little bit bigger to make them symmetrical and maybe exaggerated. So sometimes you'll do that. You'll like get it in and you'll be like, oh, I gotta. There we go. But that's the basic construct of my dragon head. We come back. We're going to keep setting in the background.
We're going to just make a step here.
It's a step.
Just a step.
I need my coffee microwave.
Okay. You can do that.
Is that okay? I will read some comments. I need these. Okay. All right, it's a Heather party. Thank you, Heather. Heather C, thank you so much. And for the corgi, I miss Shortcake and Twix so much right now. They are not missing me. I get update videos, and I think one of the most important things that we do for the animal companions we have in our life is make sure the stress of our lives isn't their stress. So right now they're just kind of in doggy camp, having a happy doggy life. They're not at a kennel. They're at a very verified, incredible dog caregiver babysitter, and they're just loving life. They're just eating all the foods and running around all the trees. They got a little run around the tree game, and I just always love to see like corgis and stuff because it makes me think of them. Okay, so this is very good. Jay says he looks like if he was a pet, he'd still hoard stuff like socks and hair ties, just tiny stuff because he looks tiny and cute. Yes, that's exactly what he'd do. He would do that. I agree. Sip your coffee if you have it. Ah, caffeinating up. Such a nice day, isn't it? It's our last painting of this. Thursday, we do have a painting. If you didn't know, it's that gorgeous abstract heart. It is definitely a pretty one. Now, I think I'm going to switch to my bright here. This is in the same brush line that Artini, but it is now the 18 bright. What I will tell you is if you have the Cambridge or the Silverstone or Simply Simmons, it'll be an 8 in their size. Ish. 8-ish. So that's what I've got. CJ is going to customize the dragon color. Yeah, totally customize your dragon. Guys, you do not upset me when you customize my paintings. It does not weird me at all. I'm so completely cool with that. You have no idea. I'm going to take a little bit of white and my yellow ochre. And I want a fairly light color here. And I'm going to go around here, and I'm on the corner of this brush. And I know I'm going to bring the wing up a bit, but I can bring this down just so we have nice light layering. And notice that I am not pressing hard into the canvas. You can see that the drum of the canvas isn't even really bending. It's just sort of bouncing. All right, just coming along there, doing a dry brush. And because I have these layers, you know, already in, what's nice about this is it creates some subtle transitions that are really lovely in their focus. Added a little more white to that. Trying to make things not too uniform. Just kind of dry brush and scumbly it out. Looking pretty good. Now I'm going to bring my Mars Black and my yellow ochre together. I am not really rinsing out. And I'm going to just dry brush and kind of scumble in. And you can see what this does is create a bit of a diffused line. It's a fun way to do this.
Yeah, it is.
I like it. Just dry brushing. And dry brushing can be kind of hard to learn. Once you get it, though, you will be so glad you have it in your toolkit. I think I want to darken this up a little bit on this corner. So just adding a little more black, brushing that in. Kind of diffusing and blending and dry brushing that out. And just come in there, a little bit of white. Kind of coming up a bit, so I'm just still in that color and just kind of blending this out here, creating a little diffusion. Diffusion is confusion.
It
Comes
can't
back
be.
with a little color to blend.
Diffusion, confusion.
Yeah, diffusion is confusion. Just creating a little bit of that blended. And make sure I've got a nice. And see, I just come back and dry brush in and out, creating a very distinct effect. Kind of work the edges here a little bit. Just creating a vignette. I'm going to rinse out some. All right, wipe out all my paper towels. Just to get it clean, I don't want to have a lot of extra water into it. And I am going to go ahead and give myself just a little bit of orange on my corner here. See this? And diffuse a light amount of that in. This will be a big deal when we get into the wings. We're just making sure that the color that we're seeing places is not nowhere else. See, I'm just on the toe with a little bit of an orange. It's almost a glaze. It's a very light amount. Just a little something, my friends. Just a little something. All right. Let's call that a step. When we come back, we're going to start putting in some wings. What is holding the canvas on the lazy Susan? Asked Angela. I have tape. Double side. I take my stick tape and I put it here and here and here and here. And it helps it just not slide around on me. All right. Did we step?
We did.
Excellent. Excellent. So I'll start with my big brush and then I'm going to get down into a round scumbly brush, but I definitely want to begin with a little bit of a big, you know, easy working brush. So I'll take my yellow ochre and my Mars black. And I'm going to make sure that I have nice symmetrical shoulders. They don't have to be totally perfect, but honestly, it will be helpful. So come here and just glaze that in, darkening that up. Yellow ochre, Mars black. Just darkening it up.
Yeah, just
Both
a little bit.
sides. I'm going to kind of sweep this up so there's a bit of a blend, but notice that it doesn't really have an obvious brush stroke here, even though I did that. It's going to be super important. And I'm going to come here and make sure there's a little back muscle. You know, some shoulders that these wings are diffusedly attached to. I did not use a special blending medium.
Yeah, you're not.
I'm just actually using the paint. But you could use golden artist color glazing liquid to glaze and to blend. That's the best one. I don't have any on my palette today, but you could do that. Now on my neck, I'm going to actually come here and go ahead and go a little bit darker. into my black. Coming down the line, and then I kind of curve those brush strokes across. That's going to help me kind of set some of the shaping on his neck. I just want to get it in right now. A little bit of yellow, ochre, and black again. I'm blending out like this. See how I'm blending it out? So there's subtly some difference between the shades, but not too much. This is that deep value color. Yellow, ochre, and Mars black. We haven't even gotten into all the other colors yet, have we?
No, not even.
Kind of exciting. Get just a little bit under here even now because I know I'm going to be building up. So I'll take it on up to him a bit. I know I've got little scales that are going to be coming out there, but I can definitely work this right now. Rinse out, and let's call it a step and dry and start putting in those little like glowy, diffusey detail bits.
Okay, I'll let you dry it first. Then we'll add some diffusey, sparkly bits, as she says, for the dragon. And that'll be cute. This guy's gonna come together pretty quick. He's not a terribly complicated fella. We already have so much of the under dragon. So it's kind of cool. So just dry. While you're drying, you can hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't done that already. Those are good things to do. And step.
So, Katarina asked if I ever use matte medium. Not in my lessons so much on YouTube, just the golden glazing liquid. It's a great product, matte medium. I've used it in the past in my art. It just not in my lessons so much. I try to limit what people have to go out and buy. Because even with me limiting it, it's still like a lot of stuff. All right, I'm in a symmetry. But first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of my Mars black over, interestingly enough, to my ultramarine blue. And I'm going to get a little white into it. Get a little blue cast on there.
Just a little bit.
And come here on either vein, and I'm going to try to get these a little more in line with each other. So that's why I tipped up, is so I could get a good angle and really see it. Coming here on this vein, and that is the ultramarine blue and Mars black. And I'm going to tap up and down back here. I'm going to leave some of this. I've added white to that mix. This is sort of my diffused shoulder here. And you can see I'm making a little mosaic-y pattern. Just tapping the brush up and down. I can always add a little more blue and white. And I will tap a little of this down here. See, I'm just leaving it open like a little mosaic.
Yeah, just give it little textures.
Little textures. That's how we're going to get these like little bits of implied scales in. Maybe kind of blend this up here just a little bit. Just a little bit. I'm going to get a little black, and this is going to be a change. I'm going to get into my cad yellow. And believe it or not, black and cad yellow distinctly make a really deep green. I really love it for ponds and nature, but for him, It's another way to get that great dark green cast to the modeling on his wings. A little Mars black, a little cad yellow. This is a number 8 Raphael Artini brush. It's just a tiny, tiny, very different than a number 8 Cambridge, isn't it? Or a number 8 Simply Simmons. So that's what I mean sometimes, that brush sizes don't really indicate what we're doing. Bring a little of this model up here. And go into a little more yellow. And you can see it really greens it up.
It
And
really does.
strangely will look like a fairly bright green. You're like, why do you look like a fairly bright green? That's weird. But that's what it does. We'll add some of that and on his little back wing, where things are a little more diffused. Put a little more black into it just to hold that weight. I'm going to get right into my ultramarine blue, and I didn't rinse out. Did you see that? Yeah. Very important. How we get these weird little half tones. Super easy to get in the digital space, a bit of work in the acrylic painting space. Will the Princeton blender work? Yeah, Lynn, I think you could probably you could do a really good job of this effect with the Princeton blender. That's a really good brush. I love that brush. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, is this fantastic brush. This is the number 12. It comes in different sizes. I would do a slightly smaller size than this for this, but if I just had this, I could totally do it. And it wouldn't interfere with me at all. So I've got my black and yellow, and I'm mixing a little of my ultramarine blue into it. It's compelling.
It's very compelling.
So then we have that kind of green effect, and then we're still honoring a little bit of that blue that's coming in there. I'm going to go ahead and brush up a little bit of blue, kind of defining the inner shoulder. Blending out the darkness down here. Just giving those wings a minute to think about what they've done. Tapping a little more of the blue scale right here in that inner corner. I'll rinse out, wipe my brush off. Missy's like, I totally messed up on the out trying to do it live. I redid the bottom half of it. It is really, so my advice, if you've never painted before, following a tutorial online, is to watch the tutorial through, hang out on the chat, just enjoy the show, and then go back and paint it when it's just quiet and you can focus. It's sometimes trying to keep up with a live show can feel a little overwhelming. We try to break it down and make it chill, but it can still be a little overwhelming. I'm going to take a little of my cad red and my cad yellow, and I'm going to mix it into that weird green I had with the black and yellow from before. Tap in some spaces with this, right? Starting to think about these little diffuse scales. I like to work color on this side and this side and this side and this side to keep that balance going. Sound like I'm teaching in martial arts. Be balanced. It does. It sounds like I'm teaching martial arts. But you know what? Sometimes things are universally true. Balance is a good idea everywhere in your life, right?
Yeah, it is.
Real wisdom should carry. Might go over here into my, I'm going to kind of mix all this together, right? Kind of creating this little weird intermediate. I think it maybe needs to be into the black. These are very muted colors, and so that's what I'm doing here, is just making sure that I've got the value, but also the fact that it's a very muted color. It's not as strong over here, and that's all right. Rinsing out. How are we doing?
Good, I think. He's turning out really neat.
All right. Now I'm going to take a little bit of my cad yellow and my cad red again. Tap in little bits of orange. That's nice, isn't it? There we go. Getting that glowing in the wing. It's a lot heavier over here. Got a little more cad red. And a little more cad red here, getting a bright orange going. It's a pretty bright orange, isn't it?
That's very pretty.
Just a little bit of it going in. See, so sometimes things can feel like super overwhelming, and actually the execution of them isn't that bad, right? Look in there, just pulling that in. Look at that go. Popping some nice bright orange in there. And I can even get a little bit of my quinacridone on here. Just gem it up a bit. These are just touches of spots of color. All right. I call that a step. We were so busy.
Yeah.
Didn't you guys feel
I think
busy,
that's pretty
busy,
good.
busy? Busy, busy, busy. Actually, yeah. Yeah, definitely. That's good. That's good. Okay. So I'm going to kind of change brushes for a second because I need to have a little more control and I don't want it fluffy now. And I'm going to work in some basic information about my baby dragon. So I'm going to take a little bit of my blue and green. This is my ultramarine blue and my phthalo green and a smidge of white. And I'm going to come to the top of this. This is just to let me know. I may want to pull these in more. And pull a little bit of the blue on top of the eye. And here's where I've got to kind of tip up, and I'm going to make sure that the line on my eye is fairly similar. Come on the outer edge here. This can come way out because his orb is really set into a kind of whole shelf space. So you'll see a bone shelf there. So I definitely want to put that there. And then I'm going to get a little of my phthalo blue and Mars black. Kind of come under where I imagine this little chin would be. Sort of at first, darkly putting this down, the center, but be careful on your outer edges. You don't want to go there yet, because what we're going to do is we're going to touch this brush. See how I'm doing?
Yeah.
To create a scaling outer edge. It's all dark, but I need that scaling outer edge for it to work. That texture is a big deal. And then I'm going to come out here and also kind of add a little bit of a scaling texture here. This is kind of like a little flaring at the chin, I think. Now I'm going to make sure that this is set somewhat well up here.
Yeah.
Just trying to get it lined up. And then ooh, really curve that one. All right, so since I really curved this one, I'm going to really curve the other.
That's okay.
Just setting in some horns. Sometimes I tip up so I just have a better handle on things. That's all I'm doing, is just making sure I got some control. Here, I'm going to also do that touching brush motion, which is going to imply scales. Perfect, perfect. And even though it's quite dark, I can do that all the way down if I want to. Just kind of creating a little implied texture. Back into that teal green that I had. I'll go ahead and just paint this whole nose and upper lip in that teal green. Back into my black and blue. Now, off the eye. A little bit of like hair or, I don't know, wisdom, dragon wisdom. I don't know what to say. Wise dragons have it.
I don't know. They just do.
They just do. A little bit similar here. See how we create just the beginnings of the little tendrils coming off? Little fantasy creatures today. Why not? You know, I'm going to go ahead and weirdly just put my brush right into a little white and purple. And this is just so that when I come here, see how that lets me kind of hold that space differently? So I've done what's called an underpainting here. Let me go ahead and round out a little chin there. Back into my black and blue. For sure it's an underpainting, but it's an underpainting that helps guide me through the rest of the painting. That can be a very important thing. And I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of my white, a little bit of my yellow ochre, and a little bit of my quinacridone magenta all together. Kind of paint the interior of the eye.
Yeah.
Yellow ochre, white, and quinacridone magenta, just to kind of start the interior of the eye. This isn't the detail yet. This isn't the secret sauce. This is just this basic part of him that I really need to get in so the rest of him will come together. All right. I love it. And Heather Jacobs says it's looking cool.
I think it looks fantastic, yeah. Think we're at a step place here.
Yes. All right. Now I'm going to come in. This is definitely a step, and we're going to start putting in some highlights and some scaling to create some detail. I am going to come into my Dot Ox purple and a little of my ultramarine blue and a smidge of white. So it just kind of creates some nice purple.
I wonder what that is. We'll go find out. Alexa, stop.
And I'm going to put a little bit beginning. I think I want a little more white on this. It'll be right here.
I had to find out what that was.
No, what that was is your son. All right, so I'm kind of talking about the scales at this outer edge, right? As they come down, those marks are smaller. Right? As they come down, the marks are smaller. I can come in with a little bit of a darker purple and ultramarine blue coming in. Right, so this part of the scale is definitely darker. And then just tapping a little bit of that in there. I can mix it into the black that I have as the background of the neck. And that'll help create a nice little transition between the bright purple on his neck and his chin and everything. Heather C wants to know if Alexa is putting their 2 cents in. And I'm going to say, yeah. All right. Definitely Alexa likes to contribute uninvited. Back into my purple mix. A little bit of my white in there. We, want it kind of bright. Maybe a little more white. So you just kind of, those little outer scales need to have a little bit of a pop. There we go. Working that in. That's doing really well. So I'm going to rinse out. My upper scales are more in, they're still in the dark grays, but they've got kind of like a teal and an aqua to them. And there's like little sparkles and bits, and I definitely want to cover all of that. So I'm going to begin with teal, which is phthalo green and ultramarine blue. But I'll go ahead and get a little black into it. And then loosely mix in a little white. So see how you can kind of see it there? And I'm going to just touch down this brush, leaving a little scale stroke. I'm going to add a little white. I'm coming around, and these are going to come down to the nose like this here. Sometime I might get a little bit of blue. See, these are pretty dark. I'll pick up a little bit of that purple and white that I have there. See what I did? Get back into maybe some of this. Put some dark scales on there. And I think I'm going to add a little white to my teal. It's cute. And I'm going to add a little bit of an outer edge of that highlight so we can really see that little brow run. Coming down his nose, and I'll mix it all back into my black blue mix. And I'll just touch up and down little tiny marks so they're not completely smooth, but they're also not big scales. And then I'm going to come with my blue and black on the outside of this at first. I'll paint in kind of very sort of carefully. This is my blue, black, and a little bit of white. Quite dark, but still distinctly blue.
Yeah.
I'm painting that in kind of carefully. Back into this here, and this can actually come around the nose, and down the cheek. It's this little triangle in here too. This is blue with a little bit of black and a smidge of white. Smidge. Just enough, so the amount is a smidge is when you can see that it's blue. It doesn't just read as a chromatic black. I might drag a little bit, kind of blending it out into the little hairs, but not all the way out them, just a little bit feathered in. Just a little bit. I'm going to get a little of my teal. I'm going to come up over the top of the lid. And drop that down. Let's exaggerate that. See how we're doing?
Yeah.
And on the outside eye. Okay, that was a lot to do, so we're going to call this a step because he's got a lot going on. We're going to dry him.
All right.
And then we're going to continue on.
Well, let you dry first. Yeah. As you cruise along, you have to, excuse me, periodically dry him to make sure that those layers of scales go on correctly and they get highlighted. And, you don't want to muddy up the previous scale with your new brush stroke. So sometimes you have to dry them and do that. Okay.
There's just a lot we're doing, so sometimes we got to dry and go. Yeah, step 9. So you don't get overwhelmed by everything that we're doing, right? Because it's a lot. I'm going to get back into my purple and white and ultramarine blue. And I'm going to add just a few little scales coming out from him. Just touching those out, but very lightly. And then a little light feathering of that space right there so that it's, again, a little diffused. I will just see this, just a little touch with that highlight creates that little ridging. It's amazing how that works. Speaking of, I'm going to, I think I'm going to come in with Doc's purple, which is almost a black, but it is not black. Right? So but it's going to read quite dark. And then I'm going to get a very light purple. Add a little bit of white into the mix here, and I'm going to just tap little scales. See, I space them. They're bigger here at the center, and they get smaller on the outside edge. It's amazing how that just works. Now, here I'm going to get a little bit of my, I think I'll actually kind of move into my phthalo blue, phthalo green. This is a turquoise. And I'm going to add white to it. I'm making sure I don't have too much water in my brush. And I'm going to highlight some nostrils here. Just the beginning of it. Back into my teal. Okay, we're just highlighting that right now. Probably have to switch into a smaller brush pretty soon. Actually, I'll just shade that in. So we have a little bit of that shaded there, and then just a little bit kind of shaded out at the lip. You see that? Where I'm just kind of highlighting it a little bit, but blending it in. Blending, blend. Rinse this out, and I'm going to go to a smaller brush because I feel like for everything else, I need a little bit of a break. I can come back in maybe with the bigger brush here when I put the warmer colors in, but right now I've just got to kind of get a handle on it. I'm going to take my #1 monogram liner. I'm going to load up. I'm going to do my darndest to set the eye. I'll line underneath the lid. Like so. And then I will come here and draw my little pupil in. It's pretty big. Try to get them the same if I can. If I can. At least have them be sisters or identical cousins. That's what one is trying to do.
Just get them even.
Just trying to. You do what you can do. Play with the little brush there. Show some little hairs that are more determined. Come under the eye. It's a fine line. Come under the eye. Now, we put little seeds in for the nostrils, as you can see.
Yeah.
You know, little seeds.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Adding slowly to match them up. I can also put a dark line between the lower lip and the upper lip, creating another little sense of space, right?
Yeah.
Rinse out. And I'm going to get a little of my white over to my original kind of flesh color, which was the yellow ochre quinacridone magenta. But this one is whiter. And paint in a lighter iris around here. We've gone Jasmine Beckwith with these eyes. Yeah, they got big.
That's all right.
Well, that's what we want. Just adding that highlight in there. Okay, let's call this a step because we've got a weird little bit of busy work to do next, and I want to give this a whole step. How many steps do we have?
You're on step 10.
Yeah, but how many do we have?
15, I think.
Oh, then we're totally good. I'm going to make some turquoise. And I'm going to add some little dots here. Tiny ones. Little sparkly ones. See how we're doing little turquoise dots? There's many little dots to do. Okay, rinse out thoroughly.
Yep.
And we're going to take a little bit of white and let's grab a little bit of yellow. Tiny, tiny. Little dots. Isn't that wild?
Yeah, it is.
They should be fairly small. I'll grab a little bit of my quinacridone. Get my brush wet so there's a little more and just mix it right in there. Adding a little quinacridone dot to it.
Just a little bit.
A little bit. You can mix them up in the scales. Like these are little glints that are happening in the scale work. Go ahead and go right into the red. And add a little bit at the outer corner. Close my mouth. See those little dots there? Just a little bit. It's not blood, it's just sheen. He's not vicious like that. Add a few of these here. Kind of go under the little horn here. Just a little bit.
Really cool.
Hmm?
Looks really cool.
Oh, thank you. Grab a little bit of this on the brush again. A little bit of color here. Get back into the quinacridone. Just colorful, right?
Yeah.
Just little bits of flurryful colors. How are you guys doing? Are you loving this weird project?
I like the little eyebrowy things.
Might add a little bit of quinacridone on the underside here. All right. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit of my turquoise on my brush. Come up over my lid, and I think I need it to be a lot wider, so I'm going to come in with a little bit of white. Kind of dotting there. I might even add this to my purple a little bit with white. See how I'm doing?
Yep.
Very light color though. A little bit of dotting above. Just brought a little dark line there, kind of bisecting those up. Just getting it. Lots going on. Let's get back into that crazy purple color with the white.
All right.
Need it to be lighter. Get back into my turquoise. I think I might have an easier time actually with my number 4 round from Simply Simmons. So I'm going to switch back into it.
Okay.
For some of the bigger areas. So we're adding a little bit of a scaling there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good scaling. Good scaling, good scaling. Go way lighter here. Come back with my little teal here. Kind of clean up that nose a bit. Back to my number 1 round. So you'll see me switching brushes to get control over stuff, especially where the details are so involved. Back into my quinacridone. Nice little dotting on that outside eye, isn't it? Tapping out here, just kind of blending those in. All right, let's call that a step because that was a lot to do. A lot. You guys holding on okay?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, big project. I'm going to take this brush and
Thank you, Celtic
this is my
Peasant.
number 1, huh?
The Celtic Peasant just had a nice little.
What?
I would say just saying thank you.
Thank you, Celtic Peasant. I'm going to take my phthalo green to my cad yellow. I'm going to mix them together and get my kind of a bright green. Come here and stroke around the dark part of the eye with this. Put a little bit of that color in. Don't know if I can do this leaning back, but I will try. I will try. All right, so that nice bright green there. Get a little more white into our mix. Doing quite well. Into our black and blue. Black and blue is still the #1 liner from Princeton Select. You can use any liner, anything that gives you details. It is important, just like you got to have blending brushes in acrylic painting, you got to have some detail brushes. Detail brushes do matter. Gonna just make sure that I'm good here. Come along underneath and stroke there. Nice little line underneath. Stroke there. That looks really good. Gives him some of the personality. Kind of add a little bit of pink in the inner corner of that eye. Like you do. Like somebody do. All right, now I'm going to take a lot more yellow and white. And come right underneath here. Adding that little highlight in the eye. Oh, it's hard, I know. Lots of detail work, guys. A little highlight under that eye. Look at that go! We're doing so good! Diana Angel says, I'm thinking I may do this for the boy I tutor. He loves dragons and always asks me to paint one. It's Christmas gift down. I agree. I have tried to plan some Christmas gifts and some celebration. There's some stuff coming. I'm going to actually start the 12 days, which 12 days of Christmas was really just holidays and winter art right now, actually early. So we'll do a few more fall pieces and then boom, before you know it, we're going to be into our Christmas art and you are going to love it. I've got, holiday pieces and Christmas pieces and Hanukkah pieces and I got holy pieces. I got so many landscapes you're going to love. It's so good. I just took my CAD red and my CAD yellow and kind of made a little orange there. I'm going to kind of put a little bit of that orange right there in the eye. It's just a touch. Just a hint. And then I'm going to go a little bit of the, I think I've got phthalo blue and ultramarine blue. And smidge white. I want to be able to see it's blue. I want it to read against the black, but it should still be quite dark. I'm going to put this in the curl inside the pupil. See how we're doing that there? And then I'm going to go back in with my black just to make sure I've got nice depth here. Get my red on the toe of my brush. Outer eye, just do some like just at the corner, drop some little reds, right? These are little details that help it feel magical. While my eyes are having a little thought, I can come back and get into my green again. And just make sure that it's bright. So sometimes I'll come in and I'll touch stuff up just to make sure that it's got clarity. Like I might come back into my yellow here. Because I really want it to read as yellow. Giving his eye quite a lot of dimensionality. Melinda's like, I can't wait for the menorah I wanted to give as a gift to my friend. She doesn't know that I started painting, so I cannot wait to see the look on her face. I am excited about that too. I've done, this will be my second one. I'm not Jewish. But we have painters from all over the world and from every thought process, faith, everything that you can imagine. And I like to create holiday paintings that are inclusive, not just for the people painting along, but for the people we love in our lives, right? That we want to give gifts to.
Yeah.
And but I always get good input from people who are of the Jewish faith so that I don't make crazy mistakes like having all the candles at the same level.
Yeah, it's like, we want to be able to help you guys paint things that are relevant to your life and your celebration and your loves without making commentary on it from a religious standpoint. Like, everybody likes a pretty menorah because it's pretty, and you want to have one as a decoration. We want to help you learn how to paint one.
Well, or for religious, because it's sacred in your life.
Right. Exactly.
But I do get help because it's not my primary thing, and it doesn't ever bother me to get that feedback, and I always really appreciate that help because, like, you don't, if it's not something you're highly familiar with, sometimes you don't know.
Yeah,
But the candle thing, what I'll tell you is if you're painting any menorah, one of those has to be higher.
And it's very interesting as probably one of the...
Come here and add a little bit of a dot to the top of the nose.
I always find it interesting how folks from different faiths oftentimes don't know that something has a more religious context than just being decorative.
I don't think we talk to each other enough about that stuff. I think is what it is. I think we just kind of, sometimes we don't let each other into our lives that way. We should.
Yeah,
I don't think we always do, though.
But I enjoy all things for the prettiness of them. So.
It's true. Things can be both. I'm going to get a little more of my light turquoise here. See, I'm loading up the brush. So I think it's going to be a very inclusive, fun holiday winter event. Katerina says, he's looking so cute, but still has the look of I dare you. I agree. I'm adding a little bit of highlight right here just to make sure that, the little lip has a highlight, right?
Yep.
It's also letting everything else kind of have a dry. I can come and get a nice amount of this if I want to for, get a nice little turquoise for the little hairs coming off here. I just try to, what is around the dragon, I try to make on, on him as well.
That makes sense.
Taking my little dark dragon color and kind of tipping it up and down. Yes, I take painting a dragon this seriously.
Well, it's a good dragon.
Deborah says, thank you, Cinnamon. He's just beautiful, and I love the colors.
I do, too.
And, where is the more? Well, there is one menorah that I have already painted that was very popular from years ago. And the new one will be coming up, I'm going to start holiday painting middle of November, maybe a little before.
Yeah. And
you'll start seeing your winter and your snowmen and your Christmas trees and your menorah and your holy candles and all of that coming up. And, the landscapes are great. And it looks like we're going to have a Handmaid's Tale because that got voted very high.
Interesting.
So, yeah, that'll be fun. So we're going to have a lot of fun stuff this holiday. We're going to cover all of the things. I'm making a very light purple, and that's because I want to make sure that I add a little kind of highlight. See those little highlight dots on his little lip?
I do.
And they get smaller there. I think that that helps him. Is cute. Diane Angel, I want to do the Lady in the Light Saturday for a friend as well. So many wonderful paintings coming up. Oh yeah, we got the birch trees. We got the lady dancing. We got the birch trees. We have the incredible autumn landscape. Two of them actually coming up. And then I've got to put up a new one that's a gorgeous, I don't know, impressionistic, beautiful woman's face. I don't know. It's going to be gorgeous. It's doing really well. So we're going to get it out there. So keep watching because there's new stuff happening all the time. Okay, now I'm going to come here and just a little bit sort of in the inside circle here. See what I'm doing? Yeah. Just a little bit in the inside circle there. This is going to be wild. And then I'm going to get my white. And put a little bit of a dot on the inside of the eye. And start a little reflection light across his eye. Might need to break it up a little bit. Got a little linear there for a second. That's okay. Pretty easy to fix. Because all I do is I just come back with my dark and just make sure that it's, see, broken up so it doesn't mess with me at all. A little bit of a reflective light on the outer eye. You guys see that? So that's why we kind of have a pink in there, is so when we put that reflective light on the outer eye, we can really, really see it. Very light blue again. Kind of capturing that little smile there. Really, really light blue for the top of the lid. Kind of dashing along. Very, very light. All the way down. And I think I want to kind of make sure that this outer horn is like not just red lines. So I'm going to sort of tap up and down a dark color. See what I'm doing? And then I'll come back into my red, but I don't rinse. That'll make it feel a little more like a horn there. Guys, I think we might be there. I think,
Wow.
well, yeah, I think we're there. I think we're there. I think we got there. What do you guys think?
I think it's amazing.
All right. I think we did a good job here. I'm going to grab my yellow in white on my #1 liner, and I'm going to just give this a signature. And then I will tell you what we're going to do next. I have other dragons if you like dragons. I have other dragons. Though I'm going to say, like, right now he might be one of my very favorite dragons that I've done. Just because he's just very, like, maliciously strange. Isn't he wonderful?
Super awesome.
I think he's super awesome. All right, so he is a cutie patootie. Long time coming. I've been asked for dragons again a lot recently, so I was very glad to be able to put this up in our Halloween series. Now, coming up Thursday is a premiere. A premiere lets you guys come and chat like it's alive, but it's actually recorded, which means the mini book is already there, and it is if you are going through something. If you are healing from something, this painting may very much speak to you. It's where it came from in me, and I think it's going to be cathartic and healing to so many. It's a gorgeous, abstract, emotional heart in really beautiful colors, mostly like my hair and the dragon. It's just kind of that. On Saturday, we do the aforementioned woman, and she's in this sort of like vintage style chiffon dress dancing, and there's glowing lights all around her, but she's actually very simplified, much more than he was very complicated, much more than he was simplified. She's simplified, so she'll be very beginner friendly. Then we've got the birch trees, and then we've got a couple landscapes. I've got florals coming up. I've got incredible portrait romantic pieces coming up, and then we're going to be getting right into the holidays. And I think I've got some stuff. If you're in the patronage, you've seen the kitten in the Christmas ornaments, you know I've got some stuff that's just so cute. Your heart will like grow 10 times bigger with the spirit of love and brotherly love, huh?
Oh yeah,
it really is super cute. So I feel like I'm kind of on fire designing wise. Be sure and hit the like for this video. Be sure and hit subscribe so you don't miss any. I cannot wait to see your version of this little guy. You can share in the Facebook group. You can share if you're still on Twitter. If it hasn't, like, Twitter's, I'm pretty safe on Twitter, but Twitter's like, but if you're there, I'd love to see your painting. TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram, and even Pinterest are great places to share your paintings with me. And on our website as well, you can email us stuff. Come by and get your free account. If you'd like to support us, join the patronage. It's weird, the patronage, I know it's really weird. They get extra stuff. They get to name things, and they get to see Acrylic April early. And I monologue like a villain with them. Not as a villain, but like a lot of monologuing.
There's a lot of monologuing. So
if you like all this, there's more of that. Be good to yourself, guys. Be good to each other. And I want to see you at an easel really soon. Bye-bye.